Apple is about to do something so weird, so ambitious, and so aggressively Apple that I genuinely can't tell if it's genius or completely unhinged, because according to the latest leaks, Apple's future lineup doesn't just include a foldable iPhone made out of liquid metal. It might also ditch the dynamic island exactly how you know it. And yes, the selfie camera could end up shoved into the corner of the screen like it's 2019 again. And before you roll your eyes and say, yeah, right, Apple would never do that, stick with me. Because this time, the leaks are coming from places that usually don't miss. Let's start with the foldable iPhone because this is where things get wild. For years, Apple has watched Samsung, Google, and basically everyone else play with foldables like it's an experimental phase. Cracked screens, creases you can see from space, hinges that feel like they'll give up emotionally before you do. Apple stayed quiet, suspiciously quiet. And now we know why. According to supply chain reports and analyst Jeff Pugh, Apple's first foldable iPhone is expected to use liquid metal for the hinge, not metal-inspired, not aluminum, but we renamed it actual amorphous liquid metal, the same material Apple has been hoarding patents for since 2008 and never actually used. This stuff is insanely strong, extremely resistant to fatigue, and designed to survive repeated mechanical stress without deforming. Translation: Apple wants a hinge that doesn't get tired of existing, one that doesn't loosen, wobble, or feel like it's on its third midlife crisis after a year. And the rest of the phone, reportedly an upgraded titanium alloy. So yes, Apple may actually make the most Apple foldable possible. Minimal flex, maximum flexing. Now let's talk specs, because this isn't just a cool science project. Leaks suggest the iPhone Fold will feature two displays, both with an 18-megapixel center stage selfie camera, one inside, one outside, which is great because nothing ruins a premium device like opening it up and realizing the inside camera looks like it was borrowed from a 2016 iPad. On the back, we're apparently getting a 48-megapixel main camera, paired with an ultra-wide, clean, sensible, very Apple. And yes, Touch ID is rumored to make a comeback here, likely baked into the power button. Because if there's one thing foldables prove, it's that Face ID doesn't always know which direction your face is currently facing. Internally, the leaks get spicy. We're talking A20 Pro, Apple's next-gen chip, paired with the new C2 5G modem, and Apple's own into Wi-Fi chip. And for the first time on a foldable iPhone, 12 gigs of RAM across the board, no base model punishment. No Pro Max that gets more memory because vibes, just 12 gigs. According to Jeff Pugh, Apple believes this device alone could help it gain 2% market share in 2026, even as the overall smartphone market shrinks due to rising RAM and storage costs. That's a bold claim. But if any company can charge $2,000 for a phone and still sell it out instantly, it's Apple. Now, here's where things get even more interesting, because while Apple is planning its most futuristic iPhone ever, the iPhone 18 Pro might actually look older than you expect. A new leak from Digital Chat Station suggests the iPhone 18 Pro and Pro Max will keep the same display sizes, 6.3 inches and 6.9 inches LTPO, but with a massive internal change. Face ID is reportedly moving under the display, finally, after years of rumors. But the front camera, that's the shocker. Instead of sitting in the center like the dynamic island, the selfie camera may move to the top left corner of the screen. Pixel 5 style, old school, OnePlus Energy, Android 2019 core. And now everyone is confused. Does the dynamic island shrink? Does it move? Does it disappear entirely? Or do we get a weird hybrid where Apple pretends nothing changed while everything absolutely did? To make it even messier, other reports claim the base iPhone 18 and the rumored iPhone Air 2 will keep the current Face ID setup, meaning Apple might intentionally fragment the lineup. Pros get under display Face ID, normals keep the island, foldable gets Touch ID. This is either Apple playing 4D chess or Apple chaos mode. And according to the same analyst, the iPhone 18 Pro is also expected to get variable aperture on the main camera, which means better low light shots, more natural depth, and potentially the biggest photography upgrade since night mode. Quietly massive. The kind of feature Apple drops and then never shuts up about for 5 years. Now, quick detour because Google and MediaTek decided they also wanted attention this week. MediaTek just launched the Dimensity 9500S, which is basically a slightly toned down flagship chip designed for flagship killers. Built on 3 nanometers, all big core CPU design, ray tracing graphics, generative AI support, 320 megapixel camera compatibility, 180 Hz displays, the whole checklist. In other words, phones under $700 are about to get very uncomfortable for actual flagships. And Google, the Pixel 10a is leaking early. A tipster on X claims Google may launch it on February 17th with Euro pricing starting at €500 for 128 gigs and €600 for 256 gigs, which sounds expensive, until you realize that's actually cheaper than the Pixel 9a at launch. A price drop from Google in Europe. I know, I'm also shocked. Colors look familiar: obsidian, berry, lavender, fog. But hilariously, the 256 gigs version might only come in black because Google still hasn't figured out storage or vibes. And finally, one more Apple twist: Siri. Apple confirmed that Google Gemini will partially power a revamped Siri. And according to a report from The Information, this new Siri will actually be conversational, like telling stories, helping plan trips, generating documents, remembering context. Allegedly, Apple says more features will be shown at WWDC, with some rolling out in iOS 26.4 and others, surprise, pushed to iOS 27 because Apple Intelligence time works differently. Still, if even half of this works the way Apple claims, Siri might finally graduate from accidental activation champion to something genuinely useful. So yeah, Apple's roadmap right now is weird. Foldables made of liquid metal, cameras shoved into corners, Face ID disappearing, Touch ID returning, Siri powered by Google but pretending she isn't. And I kind of love it. Now I want to know what you think. Would you take a corner camera over the dynamic island? Are you excited for an Apple foldable or terrified of the price? And do you actually believe Siri is about to get smart this time? Drop your thoughts below. I'll be reading them, probably while questioning reality. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, you know what to do. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.